Nestled in the rust-colored hills of northern Arizona was the town of Carson Ridge, a small, sun-bleached outpost where cattle outnumbered people and the Wi-Fi was just good enough to run a business if you didn't ask too much of it. It's where Nate Porter moved when he cashed out of his last startup. He wasn't burnout exactly, but after 5 years in the tech grind of Austin, Nate needed air. Real air. The kind that didn't hum with startup pitches and VC deals. In Carson Ridge, he bought a ranch house with an actual porch swing and a view of the mountains. He figured he'd write code, start another business, and finally get his act together. See, Nate had a secret. He had always wanted to be a machine. Not in the literal robotic way, but in the myth of it. Machines didn't forget things. Machines didn't procrastinate. Machines didn't look at their inbox with rising dread and think, God, I'm a failure. Machines just did the work. On time. Every time. But Nate wasn't a machine. He was a guy who built brilliant things, raised millions, and still felt paralyzed at the thought of replying to one slightly ambiguous email from a potential partner. When he moved to Carson Ridge, he swore things would change. No more chaos. No more shame spirals about inboxes or late deliverables. He read every productivity book, tried every system. Bullet journals, time-blocking apps, email filters, standing desks, cold plunges, mindfulness meditations. He even built an app that gently buzzed his wrist every time he spent more than 90 seconds on Reddit. None of it stuck. One afternoon, while ignoring his inbox yet again, Nate drove down to the feed store to grab coffee. Yes, the feed store had the only espresso machine in town and ran into Loretta. Loretta owned the only bakery in Carson Ridge, a squat building that smelled like cinnamon and ambition. At 61, she had no interest in retiring and ran her business like a symphony. Orders came in, shipments went out. No drama, no missteps. Her team loved her. Her customers adored her. You always look like you've got it together, Nate said, half joking, half begging for advice. Loretta laughed, handing him a paper bag filled with scones. I cry once a month in my car and yell at spreadsheets like they're ex-boyfriends. But yeah, mostly I'm on top of it. How? He asked. I watch myself like a hawk, she said. Not with judgment, just observation. When something breaks, I don't ask why it's broken. I ask what happened right before it broke. That's where the pattern is. That night, Nate went home and wrote that on a sticky note. What happened before it broke? He started journaling, not deep reflective entries, just short, honest logs. One sentence. What tripped him up today? Over time, the patterns emerged. His inbox didn't explode randomly. It was always triggered. A passive-aggressive email. Busy week. A slight feeling of incompetence that snowballed into avoidance. The more he observed, the more he realized productivity wasn't a system problem. It was an emotional one. A human one. Machines don't feel shame. But people bury things. He stopped chasing perfection and started chasing awareness. That was step 1. Step 2. Observation without judgment. One morning, while staring down an inbox that had grown from 12 to 284 overnight, Nate decided to pause. Not to fix it. Just to look. He opened a blank doc and started writing down exactly what he felt. There's an email from a potential investor I haven't responded to. I feel like a flake. I feel like if I open it now, I'll realize I missed a key deadline and they'll think I'm incompetent. So I avoid it. But I also feel worse every day I ignore it. He realized that it wasn't the volume that overwhelmed him. It was 1 or 2 high-stakes messages. They carried shame, fear, inadequacy. And when those hit, the rest of the inbox drowned with them. That moment of observation, without judgment, gave him clarity. Step 3. Unconventional experimentation. The final step was the hardest, trying weird things without shame. At first, he tried inbox 0 days. Then he tried only checking email twice a day. Then he tried deleting his inbox entirely. Bad idea. Nothing stuck. Then he remembered something his little sister told him once during a family Zoom. You're really good at doing things for people, but not for yourself. So he decided to use that. He reached out to an old college friend, Drew, who also ran a remote company from a small town in Montana. They agreed to be accountability buddies for just one task, email triage. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, exactly 9 a.m., they'd text each other, how many unread? And at 9:45, how many cleared? It was so dumb, it shouldn't have worked. But it did. That little nudge, that tiny shot of social expectation, triggered a feeling in Nate he hadn't felt in a long time: consistency. It wasn't a silver bullet, but it was a lever. And once you have a lever, you can start to move things. A year later, Nate's business, a tools platform for micro creators, started gaining traction. He wasn't a machine, but he was moving like one: deliberate, precise, efficient. Not because he'd found the perfect system, because he'd learned the actual system is you. He learned to ask, oh, what emotion is underneath this delay? Oh, what happened before this problem showed up? Oh, what if the fix isn't smarter software, but a tiny human connection? Carson Ridge became the birthplace of his best company yet, not the product, but the version of himself who finally understood. Being human isn't the problem. It's the power source. Moral for entrepreneurs. Your biggest productivity block isn't a tool you're missing. It's usually a truth you're avoiding. And the best entrepreneurs, they don't try to be machines. They master the art of being better humans. Observant, curious, experimental. And every once in a while, they ask for a little help. Even if it's just a how many unread text on a Monday morning.